Have you ever tried to plan a challenge or plan an event and found it impossible? Or just haven't had the right guidance or tips of how to do that? I'm one of those people. I've never planned a big event before, and I wanted to do this video to share my top 5 tips in what I found's helped me up until this point, and to the point of me actually setting off on my challenge in about 4 weeks' time. So I thought I'll do this video and share them with you, and hopefully it's going to help anyone moving forward that is planning a trip or event. If you've not met me before, my name's Dave King, and this channel, Every Step Towards Recovery, is focused on supporting people with PTSD or CPTSD, or even supporting those that are supporting others that have PTSD or CPTSD. So let's get into the first one, and the main thing that I wish I knew. So number 1 is the purpose and the why. So why are you thinking about doing the challenge? What's the purpose of it? For me, this challenge sees me running from John O'Groats to Land's End, and it's going to be over 31 days. Now, that's a big task in itself, but starting right at the beginning, I wanted to do something when I turned 50 that sees that bit of milestone, but also represents my own journey living with PTSD. And I wanted to do something that challenges me mentally, physically, but also is a way of supporting others as I go through. So that's my why. That's the purpose. What am I trying to achieve? Well, I'm trying to achieve that honest and open, I suppose, little journal of all the struggles that I'm going to be facing, all of the things, the negativity that's going on in my head, the barriers that I'm going to be facing. And I want to share that through basically doing a live blog and journals every day over the 31 days. What it personally means to me is just that achievement, and I suppose proving to myself that no matter what's going through my head, I can overcome it. And hopefully by achieving the overall challenge, it's going to give me something to reflect back on and see my own growth and my journey along the way. So number 1, the purpose and why. You've got to work out the reason why you're going to do your challenge. It's no good doing the rest of the planning if you haven't got sight of that it's right for you and that it's going to mean something to you. So number 2 is the planning and mapping out, which is a key part of it. So we now know what we want to do and the reason why we want to do it. It's now about what that looks like. What is that challenge going to entail? For me, yes, it's the long distance and the running and the traveling, but for you it might just be doing an event or doing a milestone challenge for you that you might want to raise money for. You might want to do it for you personally. So it's working out what the planning's going to look like for that. For me, the planning was a bit more entailed because I didn't only have to look at if it's possible through the route, but I also had to work out how many days I wanted to do it over. I've chosen 31 days in May purely because I wanted to do it within a month. So I picked a month at the time that was not in the winter, that was not in the height for summer, and it just happened that I picked May for the 31 days. I then started looking at the map. There is loads of routes for the John O'Groats to Land's End, but I wanted to pick my own route and map out my own route because for me personally, I wanted to try and hit as many towns, villages and cities as I could to have those conversations on the way. I also wanted to look at the route where it wasn't cross country because I know that I'm not great at that. So I started to plan on all of A roads and B roads just to keep myself more visual, but also on the hope that I was going to be meeting more people on the way through my journey. The planning, like any sort of route or challenge, has to have a start and finish. So over a year ago, I had this thought about running the length of the country. And when we say the length of the UK, for me, there's only one start and finish point, and that's John O'Groats, because that's the furthest northerly point, and Land's End, which is the furthest southerly point. It is quite a landmark place to start and finish, but that's helped me map out the rest of it in the middle. And then the plotting the route, I suppose when it comes to plotting the route and planning and mapping out, for me, again, it is down to personal preference, but safety has to be key. So yes, I want it to be more visual. Yes, I wanted to meet as many people, but for me, doing it by myself, and I know with the struggles that I have with my own PTSD and mental health, by staying in more visual places with cars going past and meeting more people, that's going to help me. And of course, it's going to be more safe, rather than being really rural where I haven't got signal or I'm not going to see any people for days on end. So yeah, number 2, the planning and mapping out was key. Then number 3, it's thinking about the equipment. So we now know the reason, the purpose why we're doing it. We now know the rough route and the mapping and planning of what's going to be achievable and what we're going to do. Now we're looking at equipment. So number 3 around equipment is, for myself, this journey, I've already said I'm going to be self-sufficient. And what I mean by that is I'm going to have a backpack on and carrying all of my equipment, my tent, my cooking stuff, my supplies, all of them bits. So the kit list for me was an important place right at the start. And all I did was I've got an iPhone, so you can do this on pen and paper, Android devices, any sort of other devices. But in my notes section, I started to write down all of the bits that I thought that I needed, all the way from my backpack to all of my camping gear, to what sort of supplies, the bag itself, all the bits and pieces, all the way down to wash kit, clothes, what I need. So I just started writing down this list, and then I started to look at what's achievable for me to get now. Obviously, funds is difficult for everyone. So the other thing around the kit list was seeing what's achievable to start getting and putting together, what I can spread over the year, and also what I'll be going on to the other part in a minute. But it's about who can I reach out to maybe supply me with some of the gear, give me some discounts, donate anything. But the equipment is key. Also around equipment, it's stuff that is going to be added to. When I first started putting my kit list together, I had probably 10, 15 items that I thought covered everything. And then a year on, that has now grown because it's things that I didn't even think about or people have supported me with. So your kit list, don't be overwhelmed if it's just got a couple of items. First of all, as you start doing the planning, as you start talking to people and getting suggestions and ideas, that kit list will start growing with you. So yeah, number 3, equipment. Number 4 is the backing and communication. So I touched on that at the end of the equipment list, but backing, what I mean by that is if you've got an idea of what you want to do with the challenge. So for me, it's around PTSD. It's a big milestone. It's a big distance. It's a big event. Now I started thinking about, right, who can I reach out to? What people make or supply gear that if I put together a bit of a supporters pack of what I'm doing and what I want to achieve, is there anyone out there that will get behind me? And or even if they're not sending me equipment or couldn't help in that way, what could they advise me? Where could they signpost me to? So around the backing, for me personally, I started to reach out to camping companies, backpack companies, people that do equipment. I'm also going to be running, I knew that I wanted to be quite visual, so I'm going to be running with a 5-foot flag. So I started to reach out to different printing companies, and there will be a lot of companies that you reach out to that you won't get any responses, or you might get responses and it's just not the right time for them, or they haven't got the budget to help out of anything. But all I would say is just use the same sort of email that you put together and just constantly send it out, because believe me, you will have people that will support you and will believe in the challenge that you're doing or the reason you're doing it. So I was quite lucky. I had a number of different organisations that said that they would support me, whether that's through discounts, supplying kit and stuff like that. So when you start getting that kit and talking to them people, that's where you can add to your kit list and start checking it off, and you know, they make suggestions that you didn't even think about. So that's the backing side. But the other part of point number 4 is communication. If, like me, you're also doing it for supporting other people, I wanted to do it for a charity. So I started to look at different charity organisations, and to be honest with you, PTSD UK is the one that I went for. Now, they wasn't the first charity that I contacted, and I had some charities that was interested but then started tapering off. Other charities that was more about the money and not the awareness, and it's got to sit right with you. So for me, when I had PTSD UK get back to me really quickly, it was evident that they was not only on board, but they was really keen it not all to be about money and raising funds. It was about the awareness, and believed in my story that I was trying to put across. So getting a communication with a charity is great, but even if you didn't want to have a charity on board, I found that social media nowadays, now I'm not great with social media. Yes, I've got different accounts, but just by start reaching out on social media, starting communicating the reason why you want to do it, start getting that interest, seeing what sort of things people want to hear about. So I created my social media accounts, and any accounts that I had live already, started promoting out on there. And then I done this YouTube channel. So this is a new thing for me, but you know, nowadays YouTube is a great way of reaching out to people, and I think I'm using YouTube as not only trying to get my message across about every step towards recovering, the site campaign that I'm doing, but YouTube is personally for me my own little journal and stuff that I can view back and look back on. And if other people view it and find it helpful, that's great. But again, that goes down back to point number 1, the reason why I'm doing it. So yeah, communication and backing is key, I find. And then number 5, the last part, is the support and not forgetting why you're doing it. So the support, I know we've talked about charities or social media and speaking to people, but the support it's important around anything that you want to do, whether it's a big challenge event, whether it's a little thing, that you've got support from your family and friends, that you use them as a check-in to make sure that, you know, is it achievable? Is it something that's just sitting in your head and is actually so far out the realms of achievable, you need someone else's advice or help around that to help you understand stuff. But I used a lot of like family and friends and speaking to work colleagues, and when I saw that actually people were really getting behind it, that helps the momentum go forward. And so having that support there is great. I've spoke about the support around the charity I'm doing it, the support from other organisations that have got behind me, and now even moving forward doing press releases and stuff like that is fantastic. But more so than the support, this number 5 takes us back round to number 1. It's the why, and not forgetting the reason why you're doing it. I never knew how big this event would take off for me. Back when I first come up with the idea about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I kept on dismissing it. And then when I thought, oh, this has got a bit of movement, to where I am now, it's massively grown. And quite a lot of times I have to sit back and it can be a bit overwhelming and thinking, am I losing sight of it? The reason why I'm wanting to do this whole thing in the first place, I don't want it to then overrun and be a big event that actually I'm just a small part of. So you constantly have to remind yourself of why you're doing it, what's the purpose, what's the reason. And really, I find it helpful in grounding myself of going, no matter how much people comment on stuff, no matter how much publicity is involved, of how much you're committing to, actually remembering that this is about me. My challenge is about me and sharing my story and achieving that milestone in my own journey. So yeah, number 5 is remembering the why. So that's my 5 helpful tips. I'll just go over again. So we've got number 1, which is the purpose and why we're doing it. Number 2 is the planning and mapping out. Number 3 is looking at the equipment and what is needed. Number 4 is the backing and communication around all of that. And then number 5 is the support and not forgetting the why. So they're the 5 things that I wish that I had a simple list at the start of it. But actually working through now, these are the 5 things that I believe if I was going to do something again, I would work through. Now, don't get me wrong, these 5 things haven't happened all over 1 month. They've been over a year of planning and they've been developing. So hopefully you found this helpful. I would love to know in any of the comments below of any sort of challenge that you might be planning or thought about, and especially if you are suffering with PTSD or CPTSD, of the blocks that you might have come across around wanting to do something, a bit of a milestone, but you also feel that you can't do it at the moment. I would love to hear about that and hopefully get them conversations going. But yeah, hopefully you found this helpful, and thanks for watching. If you do want to know a little bit more about PTSD or my journey or CPTSD, then check out some of my other videos. Give me a comment below on what you want me to cover, and carry on following or subscribing if you want to know more, and especially if you want to follow my journey for the challenge. But look after yourself and stay safe. Cheers.